Well, thank you for having me. David James, my role involved in football. I don't have any specific role, I have a lot of different roles.
If you hadn't gone down the footballing path all those years ago, what field do you think you'd have gone down?
Ideally I would have been an athlete, high jumper. I had a choice of high jump or football at the age of 15, but probably would have ended up in the army or some kind of service.
And looking back over your career, what is one moment that sticks out? What would you say is the best moment of your playing career?
My debut. I think quite simply you work, it seems like a long time, and when you get to my age it's no time at all, but you work a long time as a kid to get the opportunity to play professional football at a first team level. So the debut was it, because without that you don't have the career.
Yeah. And just mirroring that, what would you say is not just a big disappointment of your career, but how you sort of challenged that disappointment and how you overcame it?
I don't think looking back there were any disappointments because of the career I had.
Yeah.
When I was playing, then I would argue every game there was something disappointing because there was always a strive for perfection. How did I cope with it? I think over 23, 26 years as a paid footballer, I coped with it well and badly in different measures at different times. I mean, it's very, very fluid.
And what would you say is the best thing about working in football?
The best thing is that you get to try and be the best in whatever capacity that is, whatever measurement that is. You can literally be the best at what you do. I think now with the multiple roles that I have in football, I just think that it is the most amazing sport. The elite end, of course, you're looking at highly talented, highly gifted players, coaches, managers, whatever it would be. But at grassroots, you're looking at communities and people who benefit from football being around. So it's just wonderful.
Who's one player you'd have loved to have played alongside but never got the opportunity to?
I'm trying to think. I think I played with all the players I wanted to. Actually playing against them is good enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because if they're that good and you're that good, then it's a battle rather than being mates.
And I know you say you got quite a few roles in football now. What is it that motivates you, whether inside or outside of football, nowadays?
Many different things.
Many different things.
Yeah. I love data. I love analysing football through data. I love analysing football through video. I still play, albeit charity matches or even with friends and stuff. So I love that part of it. I love, as I say, what football does to people, to communities, how it brings people together, how it gives people opportunities. Yeah, I just love everything about football.
And what's the best piece of advice you'd say you'd ever been given, whether inside or outside of football?
Funnily enough, it was when I was Watford's first team goalkeeper back in the early 90s. The late Peter Bonetti was my goalkeeping coach. Peter had played for England, he played in World Cups for England. And he came up to me one day and he said, look, I think we were walking off the training field. And he said, look at you and look at me. You know, I'm 6'5", I think by then he was 5'11", whatever. He said, I can't teach you to do everything. He said, but if you take one bit of what I say and that works for you, and then take a little bit of every coach that you work with, then you'll become a better goalkeeper. And I thought, I've got a guy here who has been given the responsibility to make me better, but isn't telling me that he knows everything, and I respected him from that.
A big thing for our students is relocating for uni or work or placements or anything. What's something you'd say to someone who's relocating for work or university? As
a player, and arguably even if you're a coach, if you are one of the sort of head figures in a football club, then there'll be a local community that know who you are, and therefore you kind of try and do as much as you can in the community, but knowing full well that you can't do too much. It's a different existence. Since I've stopped playing and being in that position, I just go out and try and enjoy the community. I think that's key. Understand where you are geographically, and I think that'll give you a better grounding for where you are sort of internally. It's a wonderful country, really is. And I didn't know this because I used to play a game, fly or drive, whatever it is, to a stadium, play a game, and then go home. Now that I get to go and work at football stadium, I can go there and sort of do a little bit in a town or wherever it is, and actually see the area in a larger understanding. And we do have a wonderful country, so get out there and see it would be my advice.
How important would you say education is for athletes, professional footballers, in any sport? How important is education for them for a career post-retirement, whatever age that comes?
Fundamental.
Yeah.
Absolutely fundamental. I mean, I left school with no qualifications. Not that I wasn't capable, but I just didn't. And I spent the vast majority of my early career not being interested in education, and then started being interested. To be able to have a long career like me is rare. As I say, if an average is 8 years, and we're not talking 8 years at Premier League international level, that's 8 years across football. So that would, I'm sure, in large part be players who are playing at the lower end of the footballing spectrum. So to come out of that and have no education means that you've basically got to start your life as a mid-20-year-old. And if you've got to start your education career from that point, then you're looking at 30s before you've got any real qualifications. That's too late in the day. Do it while you're starting at football, while you're young. Get the qualifications. I think it will keep you interested in that educational path, and depending on what qualifications you got, you can have the career and use those qualifications while you're playing to drive another business somewhere.
So did you play with any players who were studying degrees alongside their playing career?
Can't think of many who are going through courses, even if they were encouraged. Whereas now, and I think for a lot of the students listening to this, you just need to watch the Premier League, and you've got the likes of Arsenal youngsters coming through, Liverpool youngsters coming through, who are playing Premier League football and having to go off and do exams and stuff like that. The onus now in, especially the elite end of football, is that the academy players have to have an education because they know the nature of the game. There's so many more academy players than when I was playing. I think it's more commonplace now.
What was it that attracts you to punditry and the media side of things?
Again, the world's very strange, because when I was playing, I hated pundits. Most pundits. They were talking about the game that they, quite often, and this is how I took it, they were talking about the game they played in a way like they'd never played it, and talking about players doing things which they did themselves like they never did themselves, and I just couldn't understand it. I used to write columns in a newspaper when I was playing. I had a mad interest on football, not just, in fact, I wasn't really that interested in the stuff on the field. It was everything to do with the sort of peripheral stuff, the environment, stigmas, travel, whatever it might be. And so I used to write about that. So when it came to the media side of things, I thought, and I was asked to sort of take on a role where I was talking about football, but also sort of bringing my other interests, if you like, loosely. You know, if someone scores a great goal, I wasn't talking about how many tons of carbon were being used in the process, but it was kind of like a slightly more quirky view on things. So I was happy to do that, rather than just go down the old cliched line of great player, great goal.
I mean, you've said the best thing about working in football. What would you say is the best thing about specifically working in sports media?
For me, it means I get to watch loads of videos, do loads of data, because again, it's really interesting. There's so many different roles in this. It's not just a pundit is a pundit. I mean, it's just a headline. Some people are fantastic at analysing, for example, tactics, formations on pitches. Some people are fantastic at analysing the actual individual skills in the game. Some people are just great for talking to people to listen to. You kind of get the opportunity to be yourself rather than follow some kind of formula, if you like.
Compared to when you were playing, I know nowadays the sports media world, you've got written, still, broadcast, social. How influential is media in modern football compared to when you were playing?
I think it's different, and the reason I say this, when I was playing, there were, give or take, 3 or 4 newspapers that people would take seriously. I'm not saying they were good, but you had a general public who would essentially look at 3 or 4 newspapers. We would have had one main terrestrial channel, which would have been the BBC because of Match of the Day. You'd have one satellite channel, which would have been Sky. We've been in the Premier League from the get-go, if you like. So really looking just over a handful of outlets for people to get their opinion or share an opinion with. And you would find where one thing was said somewhere, then quickly it spread everywhere else. So it became part of the discourse, if you like. Whereas now you have so many more voices, and I think fans they tailor their views, if you like, or they tailor their social media to what they want to see, which is perfectly their right. So there might be a connection from time to time, but you've got this sort of almost like a polarized view now, where even in the same team group of fans, you'll have one opinion one way, one opinion the other, and there's many people who will join on either side. So it's still very important, massive, of course, but I just think it's much more fragmented now.
And what's something you'd say to, a lot of students here today are on multimedia sports journalism, business and broadcasting. We've got quite a few sports media related courses. What's something you'd say to them who are looking to gain a career in that industry?
Well, there's many different jobs within those industries, aren't there? First of all, find out which job it is you're going. Because if you're working in production, you don't need to be a football fan. You just need to be good at production. If you're going to be the guy in front of the camera or the person in front of the camera, be good at talking in front of the camera. It's probably better you are a football fan, but there's a lot of guys out there who are presenting and you don't know who they support. But be good at what it is you want to be. Be a football fan if you want to be a football fan, of course, but these are specific jobs which require specific skills. If it's social media, obviously going outside of broadcasting, be whatever you want to be, and if you're popular, well done. I don't think there's any format at the moment which is king. It's just whether you're popular or not. So understand the industry and the role that you want to play in that industry. And as I say, if you can be a football fan with it, then good.
And while we're on a piece of advice for the students, what's something you'd say about the sports industry as a whole at the moment? Because everyone here wants that career in sport, whether it's in business, coaching, media, any other field. What's something you'd say about the industry now?
Well, it's fertile, isn't it? Again, this is I think the shifting nature of business. We've been talking before we came here about how technology is becoming more integrated into football in particular and other sports. You can see how football actually has kind of driven a lot of other sports, even though football has stolen it from other places. It seems to be the leading sport in change when it comes to technology. So just understand again what technologies are out there, where it is you're going to fit yourself. What
is it you prefer, the playing career or the coaching / punditry?
The career was long. There was many highlights, many low points. There was a bit at different times where my nature needed it, because I needed not to know what was going to happen, and that kind of the buzz, the thrill. Now that I'm not playing, I can still get my buzz, still get my thrill from doing other stuff. And I just enjoy life. So there isn't a better or worse.
Real. And just lastly, can you describe the life of a professional footballer in just one word?
Difficult.